Hello, and welcome to another episode of Aiding Your Game. Today we're going to be talking about elements of tabletop aids that are all audio in nature. So stick tight, we'll be right back. Welcome back. So in previous episodes we've talked about game aids in the form of everything from handouts for your players, maps, miniatures, terrain, accessories for the table like dice boxes. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different but very fun to add to aid your game, and that is all the audio you can think of. Obviously, audio is something that often gets overlooked, especially when you're talking about RPGs and theater of the mind. A lot of times a good DM will describe the environment, the chill in the air, the dripping of water, the smells of the area that the player characters are investigating, and often those do contain elements of sound. What are the characters hearing? Multi-layered audio can add so much to a game. I use it all the time in my campaigns, and as an example, recently the player characters in my Kingdoms of Esbar campaign were stuck in the plane of Pandemonium, one of the outer planes that drives people mad with the wind. It was a very intense game, and so I had two different elements of audio going on. I use audio quite a bit in all of my games, but for that one they were chasing a bad guy through the canyons of Pandemonium, and so I had a music playing that was kind of the chase scene style of music that you hear in a lot of soundtracks. But in addition, I also put on a white noise of wind blowing. Now with Pandemonium, the winds are fierce and blow strong, so I turned that all the way up. It was fantastic for a couple of reasons. It added the element of almost feeling like the players were there with their characters. In addition, it made them kind of think for their characters. One of the players decided that his character wanted to use some wax and material that he had acquired through his adventures and fashion all of the party members' earplugs. It was a great way for him to feel the environment and actually react to the environment. Of course, with the winds, all of the characters had to make saving throws regularly to avoid going deaf or even going mad. With that bit of, some people may say metagaming, but I call it all fun, I gave them advantage on their saving throws because they were now incorporating earplugs, and I turned down the volume on the wind so it was just barely audible over the music, which again was fairly low so that it didn't disrupt the table play. Elements like audio can really bring your sessions to life. If you think about a lot of the fantasy or sci-fi movies, music plays an integral role. Whether the tabletop game you're playing is a high fantasy adventure like Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder, or a sci-fi like Star Wars or Battlestar Galactica, could be some type of future tech piece like Shadowrun or Robotech, and you could even have a combination of all the different elements on your tabletop games. If you find the appropriate style of music, it can add to your gameplay in immense ways. It can set the scene. If there is danger, there is plenty of music that can put the players on edge and make them react for their characters' actions as though they're actually in danger. Chase scenes are a great example, as is combat. But additionally, if they're just visiting a bar or a tavern or inn, any type of a cantina, think about the Star Wars scene. The cantina song is so famous because it's very iconic and sets the mood for the quirky location. As is in the same Star Wars universe, the March of the Empire. Anytime that comes on, you know the big bad guys are near, and the characters should be on their toes. Now, if you're broadcasting your games, you do have to watch, of course, for licensing. You do have to make sure that you have the proper permissions to broadcast any of those sounds that you'll be adding to your game. With my games, we do not broadcast them, so I get to use quite a bit of them, and it does not affect us at all. My collection includes everything from soundtracks to movies, just regular published music, as well as, like I used in my previous example, just white noise that I have a collection of. There are lots of platforms that you can use for your music. When we first started, of course, it was all via cassette tapes. Prior to that, we did not use music as a game aid, but we delved into creating our own game night CDs, and now, of course, everything I use is digital, which is fantastic because it allows me to Bluetooth to speakers, as well as sort through my music, catalog my music, and keep it all in ready-to-use playlists. Game aids such as this, again, you can see on a lot of the more popular shows, they are used quite a bit, and they can augment that player interaction. They can make them feel almost the environment around their characters, which could have different outcomes on what their characters are actually planning to do, wanting to do, or even how they're going to interact with their party members or NPCs that they come across. And again, this is not for any one tabletop style, but can be used with any tabletop role-playing game. The addition of audio into your games can be a fantastic way to bridge the gap so that they have physical representations to touch and look at, and setting the mood via audio just adds another element to that gameplay. I hope this video series has been helpful. This is slotted to be the last of the Aiding Your Games web series. If there are requests for further game aid ideas or possibilities, I definitely am open to hearing those. Of course, down in the description and comments, we will have some links to some of the content created by Green Oaks RPG Game Aids, all designed for augmenting your tabletop role-playing games. Of course, follow us on Facebook and make sure to like our page, subscribe here. The next web series we're going to be putting out is going to be all about game mastering or dungeon mastering for new beginners. We're hoping to have some good content for experienced DMs and GMs as well, and we look forward to continuing to grow our online presence and helping more people achieve fantastic results out of their games. So until our next series, always ask, where will your adventures take you? Thank you.